Hey train fans, Roy here. In this video I'm going to go over the area that I'm planning to model and the updates to my benchwork and train room that I've been doing over the last several months. So what you're looking at here is a map of the rail system in Oxnard, and most of this area, starting from where it says Oxnard here, going down this whole area, is all the Ventura County Railway short line that I will be modeling approximately. I'm not going to do it completely prototypical because I can't. It's too big and there's too many things going on, especially when you get down here in the naval base area. And that connects to this line here, which is UP main line. It's the Santa Barbara subdivision. A very small portion of it is right here, but that whole division goes all the way from San Luis Obispo to Moore Park, and Moore Park is out this way on the map. I'm going to zoom in on a couple places, key points. So for starters, when we come in here, right where it says Oxnard is the Oxnard Transit Center, which Vinny, BNSF 6951, is currently building for me. It's this structure here, and this red curve is the platform next to the track here. And right next to that is a classification yard, UP classification yard here, where the trains come from both Los Angeles area and north up to San Luis Obispo. And then below that, coming off right here, is a little interchange area. It's like a little mini yard where the local UP Jeeps will transfer cars from the UP yard over here into the interchange yard. And then this little area down here is the Ventura County Railway yard, and there's actually a little engine shop building here as well. And their little switchers come out and take the cars from here down into Oxnard, either going down this way to the military base and the port of Hueneme, or coming this other way and coming down here to this portion of the map is a BMW processing facility. And there's also a vehicle delivery transfer service business that's next door to the BMW place, and they both receive auto racks full of cars, and or in the case of the vehicle one, I believe they also load up auto racks with cars to be shipped out. And then over here, this little spur here is a paper mill type area. It's a container board company that makes like corrugated cardboard, but it's all in big rolls, and then they ship it off to other companies that die cut it into boxes and packaging and stuff. And there used to be, if we zoom out here, there used to be a line that continued down here past the BMW area and connected to the Southern California Edison plant that is right in here. But that's long, this is all overgrown and cut off. They don't get train delivery here anymore. And then this line over here connects over to the base, and it's still there. It's mostly used for storage, but they can occasionally come over here, and they have they can unload cars into a big parking lot in here as well. Going back over to the base, there used to be, back in the day, that the Ventura County Railway would just bring the cars to this little mini yard here in the base, and then the base had its own little diesel switcher, and it would transfer the cars around all these various random spurs. They have container unloading. They have area over here with a big parking lot full of tanks and military vehicles that they've unloaded off of ships and load onto trains to ship out, or vice versa. They come in here and get loaded onto ships and shipped out. This is a construction battalion base, and they also do repair of the vehicles here. So they have a big repair shop. I believe it's somewhere in this area here, that they repair the military vehicles and then send them back out for reuse. And also in here is a big area. These two big spurs here that actually reconnect back to each other is a big area where they unload auto racks and load auto racks, because the port here, many different companies over the years have had cars come back. When I was a kid, the cars that came in were typically Mazdas, but my understanding now is that it's mostly there's BMW comes in here, and then some Ford subsidiaries like the Mini Cooper and Rolls-Royce and some of the other high-end models come in here and get shipped out. Additionally, there's a fruit delivery here. When I was a kid, we used to see the boats full of bananas come in, and there's a big Chiquita processing plant in Oxnard, over near the UP yard. And there's also a Del Monte receiving place here still. So we do get the modern reefers come through here occasionally as well. Although it's mostly auto racks in here and over here. But we do get like boxcars and hoppers for the paper plant here. So that covers the VCRR stuff. They basically have these two main areas, the base and then this auto racks section and the paper mill plant here. Additionally, the UP local has its own set of spurs that it delivers cars to. There's this spur here is a cement place. So there's a bunch of hoppers here and these big silos, and they get cement delivered, I believe, because there's a bunch of cement trucks that come out of here and go off to various places. And then there's another company back in here. I don't know what it is, but they receive boxcars along this wall here on this big warehouse. And the same company has a second building over here that can also receive a single boxcar on this spur. Farther down this way, there's another big spur, which I'm probably not going to model because I can't quite fit where it is, but it goes to another paper plant, a Procter & Gamble paper mill that produces, like cardboard packaging, not the corrugated cardboard, but like the mashed card stock. And if you keep going along this line, eventually you get out to some other spurs, Camarillo and whatnot. There's a lumber yard somewhere along this line. And if you go out and if you keep going out that way, you'll eventually get to LA. And then coming up here, there's a big Y in Ventura, because there's a couple businesses out this way going to Fillmore. And then this is the main line coming up here, going up the coast, and it goes through Santa Barbara and eventually to San Luis Obispo. And then this same main line through here has Amtrak going multiple times a day, through Camarillo, Oxnard, Ventura, up to Santa Barbara and farther. And then we also do get Metrolink from LA up to Oxnard, and I believe it also goes through to Ventura. That's part of this here. This link here going out east is Metrolink station is up in here somewhere. So that covers the general area that I'm planning on attempting to model. And in the next clip, I'll go over my workbench and train room work. Okay, in this sequence, we're going to go over my workbench and train room work. And then at the end, we'll have a little bit on my layout plans. I started out last summer building the Benchwork. I used 1x2 lumber for the frame and then 1/8 inch plywood for the surface. And as you can see in this picture here, I did not do very much cross bracing, so it wasn't as sturdy as it needed to be. But you know, later on I added more. You'll see the legs are just 2x4s in this image. Later on I ended up adding some metal feet that you'll see. My initial plan was to have just this L in the corner here, but I quickly decided that I wanted to do more and moved this aluminum enclosure here, which is for my Shipoko CNC machine. It's now down in the garage, which is where it really should have been all along. And then I ended up with this setup here, which you've seen in a bunch of my challenge videos. I believe this is when I was doing Train Freaks Different Roads Challenge. You get the big long train of all the different cars. And you can see the mess over here on the side that I created, clearing out the back area of all the shelves and everything to make room for the train stuff. And so this is this one and this one here showing more of the mess is the before pictures of my Jerry Satz challenge response. Then we get back to the bench work, and you can see here I'm showing them that I added a lot more cross bracing. You can see more in here, and then especially in that back section there's a lot more going on there. And then I also have my bus wiring in place, and I'm using the Ron Marsh method. At least he's the one I saw doing this. He has a couple different videos showing this technique using the automotive lamps as a overcurrent protection. And I'm using 16 gauge wire for all this here. And then these connectors are compatible with the Kato unijoiner terminal connections. And I can, on this particular setup, I can do like 5 or 6 terminal feeders up to the track. I have a couple other ones with longer terminal blocks that can allow for even more. And then these are the metal feet I put on the bottom of the 2x4s so I can get a little bit better purchase on the ground sitting on the carpet, and I'll also adjust the level of the table, get it roughly nice. And then this is, in this sequence of pictures, I am gluing down and cutting foam squares. Being in Southern California, I can't get the big sheets easily, so I get these 2x2 squares and assemble them together. I end up with seams because they don't quite all fit. They're not cut perfectly square, but it's not too big of a deal. I've got some flexible spackle to put into the seams to hopefully close the gaps and be not come apart when the foam is flexing because I'm putting pressure on it as I, glue down track and put weight on it and put all the other stuff going on with the Benchwork on top. But yeah, this is gluing down a bunch of the squares using some of my old graphics programming books, big thick books to weigh things down. And this is where I got to before I ran out of liquid nails I was using. I've ordered some more and I'll be able to glue down the rest in the next week. And now the next one is the new lighting I got. I had these two in the back here. They're just Home Depot 3-foot lights. But I saw Rick Bailey, who also saw the Run Marsh video that I saw, got these lights, and so I ended up getting them as well. It's 4-foot LED lights, and you can get a pack of 6 that can all connect together, and it's like $45-50. So that's not too bad, and it's really bright. It's really nice in here. They all plug in up here in the ceiling, and I have a remote. Can turn them off and on with my SmartThings app on the phone. And then these are the after pictures for the Jerry Sats thing, where I've cleaned up that big mess, and you can actually see the wall behind there. I've rearranged the shelves, and I still got a little bit more to do cleaning up the shelves so I can put more train stuff on them. I built this rack here with the Feldherr boxes, which are what I use to store a lot of my rolling stock in. And then I have this other rack, which is mostly all electronic components and whatnot. So my other hobby is electronic kits and robots and whatnot. And if we keep going around, you can see I've got a couple of big boxes here. This is mostly locomotives and the big auto racks that don't fit too well in those other boxes. They got some microtrains, DODX set kits back here, and some there's some terrain stuff down in there, but also structures and whatnot, kits to build. And then this is the layout as it currently stands. Some of these foam pieces on the end here are just stuck in place. I cut them so I could build the track out, but when I get the liquid nails, I'll glue those down. And I'll also finish all the way to the end, and these boxes will be moved to appropriate places. The track here is just some track I set up to test some ideas and connect different arrangements of the turnouts and switches and whatnot. Using this to derive my final layout, which you'll see here in a little bit. But this next picture is one of the first layouts where I sort of had everything in it. And as you can see, it's quite a mess. The lot of track, I had staging up here and packed in the UP yard, a little representation of it, and then the interchange yard, and then the local line yard, and all. This is supposed to be the sort of representation of the military base, and these are the two auto rack areas and the paper mill. But I wasn't very happy with this setup, so I iterated some more and ended up with something like this, which I still wasn't happy with, but this is what I had been planning on for a while. I actually made room for the Oxnard Transit Center. It's a little cramped in this version of the layout, but the next iteration I'm a lot happier with, and I'll be loading up AnyRail to show you that. So hang on. So this is the layout plan that I've decided to go with. I have 3 phases, as it were. What you see here is phase 1, which is using the benchwork that I currently have. This upper section is just a oval loop representing the main line, and then I have the UP classification yard here with the one industry that comes off the back of that. Back here, it's actually got two spurs, but one company. And then I have a line coming off of here that is just, not final, but I just put it in here so I can have some industry switching come off of it, off the main line. And these are just sort of test setups. This one approximates some of the stuff that's near the paper mill in Oxnard, and this is approximating one of the auto rack areas. And then I have this particular line here, which is the cement factory that the UP local handles instead of the VCRR. And then this right here is just where I'm gonna put my VCRR switchers when they're parked, and then the UP trains will just come, leave them over here, and the locals will go back off, and then the VCRR will come in and deliver them to the lines. This lower portion is not representative of all, it's just fictitious. This upper part, most of it is actually what I'll have in the final track layout. This corner down here changes, and obviously all of this lower section changes when I add in more, but I want to build this and get it functional. And I have the Oxnard Transit Center spot here. There's some buildings and scenery work that I can do all in this upper section. And the yard here for UP, there's some buildings and stuff around it that I can model. And then what'll happen is from here, I'll go into phase 2, which I have to zoom out so you can see it. So I show more of the room here. And I turn on the phase 2 base and track. And this is now where I have my staging. This layout of the staging is not final. I just put something here. But you can see that it comes up and connects to the original track that I have there, and then this curve would just go away, and instead of just being a loop, now the main line actually goes around through staging and then comes back up and over here. And then in the front of the staging bench area, I have one of the industries that is out in like Camarillo. It's south of Oxnard, headed towards LA. There's a lumber yard. So this is sort of representing that, and I can model it off in front of my staging area. And like I said, the layout of the staging in itself, and like this section here, which is what I was going to do for like locomotive storage and have a couple like engine shops and whatnot, just for some decoration and staging. I'll probably change this when I get to it, but this is the next thing I plan to add. And then the final phase is we'll turn off this track 1A stuff so you can see kind of what that looks like, and then turn on the phase 3, which adds a bunch more bench work out on the peninsula and a bunch of new track. And this is a little bit better, in my opinion, representation of the area. So we have the interchange area here and the little VCRR yard here, which I plan to model with the building, the engine building, and it has a few tracks, and they park there. They have 3 different switchers, a GP38-2 and a GP7U with a modified low cab instead of a high cab, and a GP15. And I actually happen to have Atlas made a model of the VCRR GP15 locomotive, and it's the banner on my YouTube channel. And then I have a GP38 with a similar paint scheme, but it's for Buffalo and Pittsburgh, I think. I've got some decals so I can convert it to be VCRR. So I'll be able to have 2 of the 3 switchers they have actually be prototypical represented. And then I have the I don't have the Y because I couldn't really fit it in here, but I have the 2 tracks coming off the interchange yard, and one of them goes out and ends up at the military base, and this is my truncated, compressed version of some of the military base stuff. I basically have just the one of the tracks going over for auto racks, and then sort of a siding runaround area here, and then coming down here is where you would have both the military trains come down here for unloading and loading tanks and military vehicles. This particular track here would be where the containers get unloaded or loaded, and I don't have any of there's a much bigger portion of this that I can't really fit or represent, but this will be pretty reasonable. And then over here I've got the 2 different auto rack areas that are off to the side with the BMW and the delivery service. And then this is the paper mill spur here, and right next to the paper mill is a little area with a siding that they typically use for storage, but they also use it when they're switching out the paper mill's boxcars with new ones. And right along here next to this siding is a little area with some big tank, almost like really big propane tanks, but I don't think that's what I think they're actually chemicals and whatnot that are used with the paper plant, because it's like sort of connected to the paper plant. And then there's also right next to that is a little platform that they use to just unload boxcars into semi trucks. Occasionally you can see on Google Maps, you'll see like a semi truck parked there, and they either waiting or having already been loaded or something like that. So that's what this represents. Unfortunately, I can't really get this to be relative location-wise where it should be. It should be south and farther west from where the base is. So I'm probably going to put some kind of divider in here with a backdrop on it to sort of divide the 2 halves of this. But anyway, this is what I'll end up at, hopefully, in the long distant future when I get everything all in place. And hopefully you survived through this really long video where I did a lot of talking and showed a whole bunch of pictures and whatnot. And next update will hopefully be a little less lengthy and a little more hands-on, showing you actual track and trains running and whatnot on my setup when I get it back to the version that I was showing earlier, which I can bring it back up here real quick. So there we go. If I get back to this, this is the first goal. Hopefully I can get this in by the end of the summer. Anyway, thanks for sticking with this long video, and take care and see you next time. Thanks for watching.